Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Troy State Council public hearing. I almost said finance meeting. I'll ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll take a quick roll call. Councilmember Gully is under the weather. Councilmember Figueroa, I think, is on his way. Councilmember Steele.
Present.
Councilmember Min.
Present.
Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Council President Mantello. We have 5 present, 2 absent. I call the public hearing to order.
Council President,
Yes, Councilmember Steele.
I move that the council resolve itself into a committee of the whole for the purpose of conducting a public hearing.
Thank you. Clerk, please read the notice.
The city of Troy will hold a public hearing to accept comments on the city's application for a Restore New York Communities Initiative grant. The city of Troy intends to seek $3 million in grant funding under Restore New York Communities Initiative to facilitate demolition and infrastructure costs on the property located at 1818 Fifth Avenue, tax parcel 101.53-6-1, owned by Troy 1818 LLC. The hearing will be held Thursday, December 22nd, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. in City Council chambers on 5th floor of 433 River Street, Troy, New York, 12180.
Thank you. I'll open it up. I know there are just tons of folks here to speak at the public hearing. I'll open it up to the public. Actually, I really want to thank Jeff, and I apologize if you want to introduce. Awesome. Do you guys mind just giving the council a quick overview? Some of the concerns that were raised from the proposed development and what your company has done to ease some of those concerns, and maybe even there were some misnomers. And Jeff, I don't think everyone here knows you, so.
Yes, well, I am Jeff Morell. I'm a principal at Rosenblum Development, and Zach is our development manager. So he's working with me closely on this project. So to bring everybody up to speed, yeah,
It might be, yeah.
All right.
That's perfect.
Do this while I'm moving. With my steps. I think what we're proposing to do is a multifamily infill building at 1818, which is currently the site of the Citizens Bank branch on 5th Avenue, which is obviously had been vacated. An opportunity to purchase that property, so we do own it outright. Clearly, it's just half a block from the News Apartments, which was our first large development in Troy. The idea is to do an appropriately sized, appropriately scaled, harmonious infill development there that would sort of rebuild the streetscape and provide a new type of product, which is a micro apartment. So not all of the units, but roughly half of the units would be micro apartments, which effectively are small studios. And they've actually become increasingly popular in larger markets. Because what we've seen is a lot of rent inflation and escalation over the years. It's becoming harder and harder for folks to live in a downtown core as desirable as Troy's. So we see this as an opportunity to provide a apartment offering in a very high quality building with numerous amenities, shared amenities within the building that will allow anywhere, I mean, really anyone, but, in particular, we would expect young professionals who are just beginning their careers or trying to build wealth. This is an opportunity to, be in a very desirable, neighborhood and obviously in a desirable downtown location. And ultimately, as they grow, potentially grow within the city of Troy. Likewise, empty nesters, widowers, folks who effectively really would like single occupancies, affordable single occupancies, rather than necessarily having to have a roommate to cover the rent. This is sort of what we're being responsive to. What's also really exciting about this project is part and parcel of our development practice is this will be a highly sustainable zero emission building. This will be an all electric building. We're building our first actually right now in downtown Albany. We've been iterating on our development practice. That practice is actually, it's defined by what we call a 3 Ps. So performance, place, and practice. So performance is really what we do with the building to make it more energy efficient, to electrify the building, includes the addition of solar power, the use of geothermal systems like we've done at Vicina, our other project, and at the News in Troy. Practice is really about how we can enable our residents to be more sustainable. By providing indoor bike storage and repair, which this building will have, by providing access to car share service, by providing free universal access passes to CDTA, which we do for all of our residents, by providing EV charging stations on site. And then the last piece is place. And place is very much our focus on infill and adaptive reuse. We don't really do greenfield development. We like to go in, we find the most sustainable practice is really to reuse building stock or to go into underdeveloped properties. But place making is a really important corollary approach to that, which means whatever we do, we want it to be appropriate within the context of the neighborhood. We're longtime owner operators. We generally refer to ourselves as property managers who also develop real estate. It sounds, cute, but it really is how we have always operated in the 40 plus years of our development and management practice. So to the extent that a big part of that is really neighborhood engagement. And we had initially, I think probably everybody knows, we had initially had the building going to the planning board for an initial review. And I think there were a lot of folks in the neighborhood who frankly didn't know the project was happening, felt a bit blindsided, and we could not blame them. They were absolutely right. It's a little bit of deviation from our typical process. We normally wouldn't go to planning before we had done a number of stakeholder engagement meetings. We were beginning that process. We were just running it in parallel. Partly just, it was really just to get some feedback. It was not to lodge a formal, not to necessarily begin the formal planning process or expect any quick approvals. Nevertheless, what we decided to do was pull our project from the planning agenda, just to really to telegraph to everyone that no, we were not, that we really did want feedback, and that this is at a very conceptual level in terms of the design of the building. We subsequently held a public meeting. It was very productive. We always feel these public meetings are very productive. We get great suggestions. We hear a lot of concerns. I think we were able to address a number of concerns relative to parking and to density. I think we also got some great ideas that will inform, and we have some follow-up work to do in terms of sort of the placemaking, how we can brand the building, as well as the design elements and things that we can do to really have it fit properly into the community and on the street. We were also able to dispel some concerns or some misnomers. There were concerns about the height of the building. We were able to show that actually the height of our 4-story building is just about equal to the brownstones across the street. So I think, in terms of people feeling that they were going to really, that this was going to be, and ironically, there was a 5-story building right behind us and several other buildings that are higher than ours. But again, people need to understand and be able to be shown that. So we very much are empathetic to that. And it was our misstep for not being further out ahead with our neighborhood engagement. The nature of the design of the building, which is still evolving again as we collect more stakeholder input. But one of the things we're excited about is we are not going to include, and the plan was never to include retail in this building. Our feeling is because it really does kind of step down from Broadway onto 5th to more of a residential feeling, that we wanted to maintain the residential character of the street in that way. Again, the 4 stories, we're going to actually bring residential units down to the 1st floor. And we're kind of developing some ways to provide what I would say stoops that again are reflective of the existing built environment, so that our residents can engage in the same way to the neighborhood. Some positive aspects of some of that street redevelopment is we're going to be removing the driveways that pull into there. So there are 2 driveways now. That will be gone, so that will make the pedestrian, make the sidewalks safer. And obviously, no concern about traffic moving in and off the property. And we're shifting any parking to the back of the property, so you won't be able to see that from Fifth Avenue, really only from the alley side. So we are not doing a roof deck. Part of the reason for that, again, was we didn't want to, animate the roof in a way that would make it feel like another story and overwhelm the neighborhood again. We're actually going to use the roof deck for solar panels. So we're going to use that real estate for to power, to generate electricity for the building's use. Again, other than that, we're just iterating on design. Our plan is to hold another public meeting once we're a little bit further along with our architects and before we bring the project to planning, so people can have another chance to see, did we capture comments, did we capture concerns and properly reflect that? We can't be everything to everybody, but we're going to try our best to make something that everybody's really proud of. And we're very confident that the net benefits of this project are going to be tremendous. We did do an economic impact survey, based on the projects being fully operational, there's an estimated basically $812,000 in additional earnings based on 21 new jobs in downtown that the project would generate. I think the total economic or total spending power, estimated spending power between our residents and the new jobs that are created is actually over $2 million annually. So it will have a significant positive impact on our retail, on our small shops, and really all the folks who are kind of, that lifeblood of downtown Troy.
Jeff, thank you. That actually was the mayor. Sorry.
Oh.
I really want to thank you for coming down. One of the things Jeff and I actually met, and I applaud Rosenblum because you do work with folks before your development, before your proposals, to ensure that you're going to ease potential concerns or, as you said, if there were misnomers out there. Would you say one of the biggest things was the height of the building and the parking probably?
Yes, I mean, you hear that often. Obviously, one of the things that we're going back to sort of the 3 Ps in practice, we're really trying to drive alternative options to owning and using a car. It actually is becoming increasingly common for younger people in particular to not necessarily jump into a vehicle. Interestingly enough, Troy has 3 times the amount of people who walk to work than other capital region cities. So we're headed in the right direction by providing those bike amenities, by improving our pedestrian access, the walkability, the lighting around the property, by having relationship with the downtown businesses and making sure that we're connecting with those folks who are working and bringing them into our buildings as residents is also really important. We're always talking to business owners in downtown Troy. We obviously pushing people towards public transit is a huge thing. Where one of the very attractive things about that site to us is the fact that we have a BRT, we have a mainline BRT and bus station only a block away. So it's a great way to facilitate our residents to use that resource. Practically speaking, though, we do own satellite parking not that far away, as well as the parking that we will have on site. So, the idea, and obviously, as we move through the planning process, these will be one of the things that will be evaluated, but we're fairly confident that we're not going to, impose any, great parking issue on, and actually, in bringing those 2 curb cuts back to the sidewalk, we're actually going to be returning a few spaces to the street.
That's great. And what would you say probably you aren't able to address that maybe was something overwhelmingly heard at the meeting?
Sure, that's a great question. I would say
Because you
that
can't obviously
no,
be everything to, I get
it. We heard comments, couldn't you do, larger, more expensive, but fewer apartments? And that sort of is contrary to what we're trying to achieve with the project. It also, the concept that, oh, you're just trying to squeeze as many apartments into the building as possible, very untrue. I mean, the reality is if we don't make a product that's marketable, the product won't be successful. And to the point that we're, putting more units in, we are at lower rent, but we still have to put bathrooms in each unit. We still have to put washer dryers in each unit. We still have to put full kitchens in each unit. So actually the cost per square foot to build is higher. And then on top of that, we face cost premiums to build to the high performance standards. So to electrify the building, the mechanicals are more expensive. It's a much more intensive use of commodities like insulation. The windows are more expensive. So, we have a fine balance of making sure we have the right number of units in a building that feels really good for our residents, that feels really good for the neighborhood, and we are decarbonizing and doing our part for sustainability.
I love the sustainability part of this, and potentially maybe I'll look at one of the, no, I would love to. I turn to Sue, our council member Steele. Jeff, how many units total again?
So roughly 80 units
80,
is what we're looking at.
okay.
And again, we're very conceptual. So as the floor plans develop,
Sure.
then we flex down a bit, but we're carrying 80.
Okay, and 3 mil requests for the Restore New York.
Yes.
And I'm hoping, I don't know if you saw this last round, Schenectady, Albany, and Hudson received a grant, and we had applied for another Restore New York. Potentially this round, Troy will be in. So that's a hope. Council member Figueroa, for the record, is here. Hello, council member. This is Jeff from Rosenblum. He's talking about 1818 Fifth Ave, which is the Citizens Bank, and we're approving a Restore New York proposal for them. So no, this is awesome, Jeff. And, he and I had sat down and I actually took a behind the scenes of the news apartments, which I had seen prior, but have not seen post. So it was nice to take that tour. And I got to tell you, the bike repair shop in the building, that is huge in the storage. It's unbelievable how many there were, which is awesome. So, well, I'm pretty psyched about this. And what's your timeline, Jeff?
Well, all things being equal, we'll be within the first quarter, hopefully developing some, enough conceptual materials to come back to the neighborhood and kind of complete that part of our
Nice.
engagement. We then move into the design phase with an eye to beginning construction right around the end of the first quarter of 2024.
Okay.
And then, it's probably 15 months, give or take, don't hold me to that, 15, 18 months of construction time.
And do you kind of see more of a brownstone type of landscaping and brownstone type of building to kind of fit in? Because obviously on Fifth, there's quite a few. Do you see that?
We do, yeah. No, one of the things that our architect spent quite a bit of time doing is actually documenting the types of building materials that are used, kind of the fenestration, the window patterning, materials. So the design, much like the news, and I should mention, we did have a conversation with SHPO about the project, and they were very supportive of what we were proposing, and people don't realize that for whatever reason, that parcel, our parcel, it's not in the Troy Historic District and it's not in the Federal Historic District. So we're not mandated. However, we are proactively making sure that we are building a responsive, historically responsive project in that site. It's really important to us that we do that, much like it was with the news. And so what that'll look like ultimately, we're excited to see as our architects kind of begin to finalize, or at least get some more of those conceptual designs together. But it will be, we always say that the goal is not to, and this comes from the preservationists less so than me, but the goal is really not to recreate or try to recreate the historic buildings, because to some degree that diminishes their quality, right?
Yeah.
So it's really to use it as a reference to build something that reflects appropriately what's there and fits, but doesn't copy or look like a cheap imitation.
Well, this is pretty awesome. And would we be the first micro unit? Are we kind of the first model in the capital region, would you say?
So as far as we know, we would be the only substantial micro unit project in the capital region. There's one project in Troy that has a few micro units, but no, we would be probably the most significant, I would say, mid-rise that deploys, as well as one bedrooms and studios, which will also be in regular, average size studios. And we would also, I believe, be the first all electric, most sustainable building in downtown Troy.
That's awesome. And both of your buildings now are at full capacity, correct?
We're very happy that they are, yes, and that is what we've seen. We've seen that demand remains very high. We don't believe that that's really going to change in the capital region. This region is one of the few in New York that continues to grow. Our employment base is growing, and typically you need to provide housing where you're providing jobs. Again, particularly for younger professionals who don't have the cash reserves and have college debt, they're delaying those decisions to buy. Now, great, the market is obviously turned, and buying is a lot harder than it was even a year ago, with interest rates rising and inventory and stock of houses that are available fairly tight right now. But all the more reason that we want to offer this type of product and get that spending power into downtown Troy and build those relationships, because those are the future building owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'd like them to invest here in this city.
I love the affordability. I think it'd be perfect for a young professional or, a graduate or, it's super. I'm really excited. So please keep us posted. Did anyone else have questions? Yes, Councilmember Conley Wilson.
You keep saying micro units, and I'm not super familiar with that.
Sure.
So could you kind of explain, maybe what size are you thinking of and all that?
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, I should have provided.
Theater, you
So-
told me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
400 square feet, kind of the average size. Just so if the average studio is 600 to 650 square feet, that's but they're fully self-contained. So you're going to have your own bathroom, full-size bathroom, regular-size kitchen, as I said, washer, dryer. So you're not lacking for your individual conveniences. Also, high ceilings, large windows, help to kind of create that, or open up that space or that perception of space. Another thing is we're targeting that every unit will have its own outdoor space. One of the things that, is I think important, one of the reasons we're trying to create this, entry point for this lower entry point for a market rate single occupancy is post-COVID. People are less excited about cohabitating and looking for single occupancy opportunities. What's nice about the building design using passive house principles is that we use energy recovery ventilation. It's a much tighter envelope. So there are much more air changes per hour than a conventionally constructed building. So it's actually a healthier building. Acoustically, it's a better performing building. So it's a really enjoyable building to live in. And then, like I said, a key piece of micro apartments is often that there are a lot of in-building amenities. Typical of our, typical we offer a lot of amenities. So this will really be no different. We're looking to offer some private co-working space for folks who want to, again, have the storage up here. They will be at what we call a pet spot. We joke about single occupancies, but it's kind of 1.5 occupancies. Pets are one of the most important, one of the most popular post-COVID things for single people. I love pets, so we want to make sure that we're responsible for that as well. And we're also trying to leverage the existing portfolios. So we probably will not put a fitness center in this building, but we have an oversized fitness center at the new, so which is underutilized. So we'll be able to share those resources as well.
Which is awesome. Did anyone else questions? Yeah, Councilmember Men.
Are you going to be doing any short-term rentals like Airbnb in any of the units?
So the plan is it's not something we've done before on any sort of organized way. Again, I can can't predict the future, but as a rule, it's not something we've done, and it's not something that we put in our model.
And in terms of, I do know that like, in my experience, my small departments run the fastest. And that increasing the supply of housing in Troy is really important. And then one of the problems with this block is that this particular parcel is, I mean, as it exists now, is a missing tooth in the spine. So will you basically be filling that entire space, and will setbacks be similar to the rest of the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're looking at ways that we can leverage minor setbacks to bring in some landscaping. Again, just looking at the engagement of those ground floor units with the street. But absolutely, the idea is to just do proper infill development, really kind of repair that scholar of urban renewal, and get rid of that totally inappropriate 70s style drive-through bank branch. It's great in the summer, but it really doesn't belong.
And then in terms of types of materials as part of your, especially the facade design, getting the facade right is, key. Is it too preliminary to say what kind of materials you're exploring?
It is only because I don't want to get out ahead of our design team and misstate anything, because they're being very thoughtful. And again, all I do is point to what we've done before. I think if you look at the news and how we approach that, it's actually the same design team, Balzer Tuck, that we work with on the news. And very proud that that project, I think at least the year that that we came out, was one of the few examples of sort of the merger of an existing historic building and new construction, and it was the winner of the Preservation Excellence Award. So in the New York State Preservation Excellence.
Awesome. Did anyone else have any questions? Jeff, I'm super excited. I think all of us in your next steps, and obviously we're here to partner. If you feel you need anything, please don't hesitate to contact us, and keep us posted as you move forward. And hopefully we'll be successful. With the Restore New York, that would be fabulous.
Yes, that is, as I said, it's an extremely challenging environment, and we saw over just 2 quarters, we saw the cost of mechanical rise 20% last year. We're hoping that there'll be some stabilization of pricing, but it's not going back down, and it is still going up.
We know the feeling.
Yeah, we're still finding lead time challenges and inventory challenges and labor challenges, and just having enough. And on top of that all, obviously it's a more expensive building to begin with, both from because of the environmental factors, but also if we have to be very thoughtful in the way that we construct the building to make it the least invasive to the neighbors, and working on a tight site and staging the gear. So it's this ability to unlock this restore funding, amongst other sources, is tremendously important to the project. And we're so thankful to the city of Troy for deeming to partner with us on this.
Awesome. That's what it's about, public-private partnership. So thank you again, Jeff. Thank you, Zach. Thank you for joining us, and happy holidays to you and your families. Awesome. Here, we have an extra. We have an extra. Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you, Zach. Keep in touch. Thank you. Would anyone else from the audience like to speak on the public hearing? Okay, I'll close the public hearing, and now we can move on to finance. So thank you again. Thank you, Jeff and Zach. Take care. Public hearing closed. We'll just take a 2-minute break for finance. Maria, please don't throw things. Take care, Jeff. Yep, good night. Hi. Are we on, Maria? Can we mute it? All right, welcome back. How many folks are watching? How many? 937. All right. Thousands. All right.
was serving getting this.
That's why I can't say that.
It's our last meeting. Okay, I will call the finance to order and I'll ask, how about Councilmember Soriento? Lead us in the pledge. Carolyn, lead us to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
She's gonna see you eating all her cookies.
Yeah.
She's gonna see you eating all her cookies.
If we seem silly, it is the last meeting of the year and Councilmember Steele has blessed us with lots of chocolate and cookies. So if we get giddy. Roll call, Councilmember Gully is under the weather, Councilmember Figueroa, Councilmember Steele,
Present.
Councilmember Min, Councilmember Conley Wilson,
Present.
Councilmember Soriento. Here. Council President Mantello, we have 6 present, 1 absent. We'll get right into, presentation of the agenda. All items on the agenda are related to finance, the majority of them. And we have our comptroller here who will walk us through them because we are doing some things to address some of the escalated costs in 2023 and other issues. And I'll open it up for the public forum. Would anyone in the audience, minus the comptroller, like to speak? The comptroller is the only one in the audience, so thank you. And all items this evening will go to the special meeting, which is immediately following the meeting. So Andy, our comptroller, Andy's going to give us an overview. Hi, Pastor. Andy's going to give us an overview of, don't forget that. Merry Christmas. Thank you. An overview of what we're doing with these items because it is something new for the city of Troy. And then if we have individual questions, we'll take it from there. So Andy, take it away and thank you.
So the intent of 85, 87, 88, 89, and 90 is to, as the council president mentioned, address specific things related to next year. We can go through them each individually because they're all different. Some of them will have legislation in January to reverse it. But everything that's going to come, everything that's on the agenda tonight, some of it we did last year, some of it's new, some of it's amending something we did earlier this year. Everything is in accordance with the state and the independent auditors. Discussed all of it with them. Just trying to look ahead to problems that are coming in next year or to make sure departments don't lose budgetary appropriations in 2022 when they have a contract right now, just it's not executed.
Very good. Okay. Might as well
Yeah.
stay if you don't mind. We'll go right into the ordinances and then Andy will take them one by one. But I, really want council members because it is something new that we're doing. So ordinance 85, ordinance amending the general fund capital projects, fund budgets, Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Men. Andy.
So this ordinance.
Don't tell me it's dead already. Shame, what is up with these? It's so odd. I mean, there's 4 or 5, yeah. Andy, we have, while we're waiting for the batteries, we do have an extra have Dan.
He's just getting red.
I know, look at him. He is, Sue.
I think it's on.
You can use mine.
No.
No,
Yeah, I needed to put it.
no.
Yeah, or just a lot of batteries. They last,
Yeah.
What, about 40 minutes?
It's crazy. It really is. I can't believe this.
Or anything, but there's flour and cinnamon on my iPad. I mean. just brilliant.
I basically responded
Oh,
to
I was
constituents
looking for it. Thank you.
Responding to constituents.
Absolutely, you know, multitasking, also bringing up recipes.
Thank you, Maria. It's very kind.
Thank you.
Did you find mine?
I didn't lose yours.
You lost yours? It's not working. You know what? How about using Maria's? Thank you. I know. There you go. Hopefully not too much interference.
Move it forward.
Yeah, move it over here.
Do you want to sit here?
He could.
He could,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why don't you sit here,
That's fine.
Irene? That's a great idea. Join us, Andy. That's Irene. Look at you. Have a seat, Councilmember Gully.
You left the
I
head.
did. Well, it's starting to hurt my head.
Hey, where's my high quality?
If you wanted to see
Headbands
any
always
stay
hurt my
better,
Hello, Councilmember Soriento. How are you? You've
I'm well.
changed dramatically.
How thinking.
You're taller.
And Jim has lost a tremendous amount of weight and gained-
Yes,
and
Jim.
gained
Lots of hair.
and hair grew.
Oh, thanks.
What an improvement, Councilmember Gully.
That'll teach him to be sick.
Exactly. Andy, thank you for joining us. And so ordinance 85, and as Andy mentioned, the reversal, I want you to please get into that and explain. Thank you.
So I will note which ones are gonna be reversed. This is not one that's gonna be reversed. This ordinance moves the money out for the police vehicles that's in the general fund for 2022. Contract's not gonna be executed by December 31st. If you're not, it's not ordered by December 31st, they're gonna lose the money if it's in the general fund, water fund, sewer fund, or garbage fund. This moves it out to the capital projects fund, where there's already an appropriation from a prior bond resolution from 3 years ago that they're using to buy current vehicles. So we're just gonna tack onto that, have it be one account and spend out of there. So that's what the intent of this is, just to preserve the funding for the police vehicles that were approved last Thursday.
Yep. And so then this one won't be reversed,
No,
correct?
This one
Right.
will not be
Yep.
reversed.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Andy, also, as you mentioned, you ran this by Bonadio and the comptrollers, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Ordinance A6, ordinance A5 carries 6-0. Ordinance A6, ordinance amending the 2022 general fund, garbage fund, water fund, and sewer fund budgets. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So move.
Motion, Councilmember Steele, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Figueroa. Andy?
This is just the budget transfer for 2022, mainly for vehicle expenses and, well, it's for vehicle expenses in the general fund, vehicle expenses in the garbage fund, water fund for materials and supplies for chemicals and pipe, along with consultant services, which Chris uses for his future projects around lead service lines and things like that. And then sewer fund for materials and supplies, just to get them through to the end of the year.
And how much did you say Chris's estimates came in at?
Oh, we're
So-
gonna, that's coming up.
Okay, cool. Any questions, concerns? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ordinance A6 carries 6-0. Ordinance A7, ordinance amending the general fund debt service fund budgets. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Men. Andy.
So this is something new. This takes $300,000 of the remaining balance of the general fund's contingency, sends it out to the debt service fund, creates a surplus in the debt service fund in the 2022 fiscal year, all perfectly legitimate. In January, there will be an ordinance before the council to reverse this, which will appropriate $300,000 of fund balance from the debt service fund and appropriate it to the debt line to pay principal upon anticipation. So the essence of this is setting up the city to be able to pay $300,000 more in principal payments in next year. That will be targeted for the February issuance. That's the issuance that I'm trying to get down as much as I can right now.
Makes sense. Questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 87 carries 6-0. Ordinance 88, ordinance authorizing the city comptroller to transfer monies from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the capital projects fund for the 2023 capital plan. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Soriento. Andy.
We had talked a lot in the budget hearings about figuring out how to fund a capital plan in 2023 outside of bond resolutions. That's the intention of this. It moves $1 million of fund balance out from the general fund, sends it over to the capital projects fund to see that some form of capital plan. This is only going to be used to purchase vehicles. Other than that, what vehicles will be determined based off of operational need, cost, and availability. That will be determined sometime in the first quarter of 2023. There's adequate fund balance available now to do this. And it puts us on the path to be able to do a general fund capital plan next year. So this would be in addition to the budgetary appropriation for police vehicles that's in 2023's budget in the general fund. But it gets us on this path to be able to buy vehicles that are needed for operations next year.
And I did ask Andy, these will be specific line items. It's not like we can transfer it to the general fund, just use it willy-nilly. This will be a line
We'll
item.
delineate it later on next year. It's just to get it out to the capital fund now to establish it.
Council President.
Yes, Councilmember Soriento.
Andy, so this wouldn't include like gas and maintenance or anything? It's just the purchase of vehicles?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Further questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 88 carries 6-0. Ordinance 89, ordinance authorizing the city comptroller to transfer monies from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the general fund assigned unappropriated fund balance for a specific purpose. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Discussion. This one, it's very tricky wordery.
It is.
So,
It's-
yeah,
So assigned unappropriated fund balance is first language from the state comptroller's office. It simply means it's fund balance. It's designated for a specific purpose, but it is not right now in your budget. But you're going to put it in your budget. So there will be two steps to this. This is the first step. This assigns $60,000, which is currently in this year's budget for the copiers and the printers. That contract is not going to get done in the next week. It preserves the appropriation so that we can get the contract completed, so that we can finish reviewing the contract. Specific terms that Corporation Council had questions about back to the vendor. Doesn't force us to rush through it, or lose the appropriation. So this is the first step. The second step would be in January to bring an ordinance forward that appropriates fund balance from the assigned unappropriated fund balance to the general, to the budget. So it's,
Right.
it's
So
in and
we'll
it's
have a
out.
budget transfer.
Yes, it will. Yes, I don't think it'll be worded that way. It'll be worded, I think, or it's appropriating fund balance from the assigned unappropriated fund balance. Something of that nature, and then have a schedule attached to it. But it preserves the funding from year to year. We did this last year for an assessment update. The $125,000 right now sitting in assigned unappropriated fund balance for an assessment update at some point.
Right. So it'll be 185 total.
Correct.
Yep. And, once again, I did ask Andy about the copiers. If you recall, we passed a resolution authorizing the mayor on the piggyback, but the Corp Council has noticed a couple things in the contract, so they'll keep us posted on that. What do you think the timeline, Andy, or don't know?
I have no idea.
Okay. Thank you for being.
Yeah, I don't know.
Correct.
I don't know. We've been full tilt the last month. So
Right. Okay. Further questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 89 carries 6-0. Ordinance 90, ordinance amending the fund balance policy of the city of Troy's general fund. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration. Andy will take this away, and this is really MAC related, and we're hopefully getting stronger.
So this was before the council earlier this year where we amended it from 4% to 4.75%. So back before you, the amendment in here has a little bit of language cleanup, but the big piece is changing the maximum unassigned fund balance of the general fund from 4.75% to 10% of the final expenditure adjusted budget in the general. An unassigned fund balance is your rainy day fund. It can be used for any purpose. It's not any other type of fund balance. Any other component of fund balance is restricted. Moody's and S&P, when they have rated the city, have found really two negatives, especially of late. The first is something that's not even permissible under New York State law. And the second is that the city's unassigned fund balance is too low. They think it should be 1/6 of a budget. 1/6 of a budget, going from 4.75% to 1/6 is a rather aggressive jump. So this moves us in the direction of what Moody's is looking for and what S&P is looking for. And they are the only two who will tell you what they think it is. Other groups will tell you when it's too high, too low, but won't tell you what the recommendation is. So this is adhering to what we see.
And Andy, preferably, they would like to see us around 16, correct?
Yes.
So maybe mid-year or later next year, we may see another bump or.
I think it would be probably take one more look at it in its entirety. We have reserves that no one else in the state has. We have more reserves than any other city in the state has.
Yeah, can you
Yeah,
go
so
into that?
so we
Yeah,
have
I
5
apologize.
reserves established under the policy. A capital reserve can be used to purchase fixed assets, vehicles, any capital needs. We have a workers' compensation reserve that for workers' compensation claims, unemployment insurance, snow and ice removal, which is a nightmare. It has to be replenished under certain criteria. It's general municipal law. And we have an insurance reserve that can only be used for claims related to general liability insurance. It can't be used for other types of insurance. Those 5, as I just said, we have some of those. One other city in the state has some of them. No one else has, and no one else has 5. And looking through what everybody has, I do think that I'll spend some time mid-year next year looking at that setup. Is it beneficial to the city? Does it make sense to keep pushing money into these reserves when they're so defined as to what you can use them for? That's not a capital reserve you should keep funding. I don't necessarily know how much money one should have in an unemployment reserve or a workers' compensation reserve. Granted, we're self-insured, but I think it's more beneficial to have it in unassigned where you can use it for purposes other than those 5 things.
Do you foresee potentially that being modified at some point, or do you think that's set in stone forever, the 5 accounts?
So we.
Like, the capital makes sense, but
We could add more. I would not advocate to do so. I would just go to I mean, I think inevitably the best scenario for the city is keep the money in the reserves that we have. Snow and ice has got to get shut off. Because of the rules with that, we end up just replenishing it. And then have a capital reserve. If you build up your capital reserve, then you're moving in the direction we want to go, where if you fund it, if you're consistently funding it and you're pulling from it, you're moving away from the bonds that we've been doing for those smaller things. And then you keep moving in that direction.
and this is general fund only, correct?
Yeah, so if you take the general fund and compare it, and I had to get off topic, but I did forget to bring it up. Water fund only has assigned unappropriated fund balance. You could only use a water fund for water fund operations. That's pursuant to state law. That's why there's not an ordinance tonight. Parking money, for lack of better words, in the assigned unappropriated fund balance for water, because if you could do that, we would have, but their fund balance already is. Water fund will have an appropriation of assigned unappropriated fund balance in 2023. The year end is being constructed to set that up because Chris needs money today for chemicals. I forgot to bring that up before.
Right.
You will see a budget amendment in January or February for $300,000 to $400,000 in the water fund for chemicals. As we sit here tonight, the water fund is already over budget for chemicals in 2023. And that account is also needed to buy parts for the plant. And we're already over.
And this helps us also cash flow wise, doesn't it?
Yes, so when you have reserves are mandated to be liquid, on 100% cash. We finally achieved that. So this policy was initially set up in 1996. 2022 was the first time all the reserves were funded.
How old were you in 96? No, 10, probably.
Less than that.
Oh, geez. Oh, break my heart, I know.
So for that long, we did not fund them. It's a slap on the wrist, but it's a poor reflect. It was a poor reflection. You want to fund your reserves. So we finally funded them this year. The more we push money out to the reserves, the less we have for operations.
Right.
And amending this policy, aligns for the users of the financial statements, even beyond credit rating agencies, it will better reflect the financial position of the general fund. It moves us in the right direction. And it's post-MAC and moving out of that realm.
Yep. Councilmember Soriento.
Angie, would this also include like cybersecurity, like a cyber, like if there was like ever a cyber ransom attack? Would that be inclusive?
You would, God forbid the city
Yeah.
had to, God forbid you had to pay, you would pay it out of fund balance, unassigned fund balance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't pay it out of one of, that's the 5 reserves we have set up. You could not use any of them for.
It's very specific
Yes,
to those.
they're a nightmare. They are.
Yeah.
The snow and just for example, for snow and ice, if you use it in an emergency, you have to put it back in 2 years. If you pull it, if you have your council pull from the snow and ice reserve with 2 public hearings, you don't have to put it back. But the question becomes, if you use it after a storm, what's the sense of
Right.
why are you having public hearings
Right.
for snow and ice to use the money? It's interesting language.
Councilmember Soriento, you're all set?
I'm also.
Okay. Councilmember Conley Winston.
Andy, I'm just curious, with those, like I assume the workers' compensation reserve we use, somewhat, how frequently do we use these reserves in terms of?
So workers' compensation, we used to settle a major claim in 2020. That was several $100,000 that cleared multiple claims off the city's books. We used the insurance reserve in 2021's budget. We used $300,000 of the insurance reserve that was directly tied to third-party litigation expenses and and judgments of claims. We had to clearly delineate what it was used for in the budget review. Snow and ice, we've used every time we brought in, so the 2 or 3 times we've brought in third party for snow emergencies, we've used the snow and ice reserve. Unemployment, we've never used. We had budgeted to use it and then reversed it. And capital, we've used we've really used it to our benefit the last 2 years for different things.
Do you think it would make sense to maybe merging, like having like workers' comp unemployment insurance, or do you think it just makes more sense just to have?
He'd love
You
to.
You can't.
Okay.
So every section, that's where we go really in the weeds. Every reserve is in accordance with a subsection of New York State General Municipal Law, Section 6.
Applying to us only,
Yes.
correct?
Well, yeah,
Right.
every city and village pertains to that section of law. Well, no, I think that, I'm sorry, anyone who has a general fund outside of New York City falls under that section of law. So they are very clear on what you can and can't use it for.
But the accounts are specific to Troy,
Yes,
correct?
yes, and you can't mix them, and yeah, you can't. One is one, they're A, B, C, and D, and E. Can't do anything else with them.
Council President?
Yep, Councilmember all set? Yep, Councilmember Steele.
So Andy, these reserves were set up as part of the original MAC agreement?
No,
No,
they
no.
were set up as a separate piece of city legislation shortly after the MAC was created.
Okay, all right, there's history there that I don't know. So, okay, so what you're saying is it was created, can it be uncreated? Can we do away with some of the reserves that are not?
If the city were to, yeah, yes, but if you were to do that, it would be best to appropriate from them, drain them, and then close them. If you close them out with money in them,
Right.
there's sections of law that,
Right, I would understand that. I mean, if it all went into an unassigned reserve,
you generally, from what I've seen, can't close a reserve and push the money back to an unassigned fund balance. You have to turn around and push it to another reserve.
right,
No, that's not unassigned.
okay,
I do think it's beneficial to have the current balances there for some of them. I think it's very good to have a stone.
Capital.
I think it's very good to have a stone. Capital, yes, everyone has it. Capital's the most common reserve. Snow and ice, I actually do think is beneficial. I just think it needs to be shut off. There's more than enough money in there. Because it has to get replenished. So that there's a point that it does not make sense to continue to put money in there. I do think an insurance reserve for some of our claims that we've had would be beneficial. It was it was tied to several different public safety cases in 2021 in the budget process, and that's how we afforded to pay the third party counsel that we had. Workers' comp, beneficial to have something there as self-insured, and unemployment. That one, I think, is the one I would probably look at liquidating
okay,
and pushing elsewhere.
thank you.
Andy, do you have a balance? Those are,
I can get it.
yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Further questions, discussion, very thorough, Andy. Ordinance 90, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed?
There was no motion. There was no motion.
Yeah, we
yeah.
did. We mentioned second. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And then, opposed? Ordinance 90 carries 6-0. Last but not least, resolution 125, resolution setting the date for the January 2023 regular monthly meeting. Oh, please don't go. We like you there. Of the Troy City Council. Council President Mantello, is there a motion?
so move.
Motion, Councilmember Steele, is there a second? Second, it was a little bit of a tie, but Councilmember Conley Wilson, discussion? You sure? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And just so folks know, so resolution 125 carries 6-0. A resolution will come in January for the full 2023. Okay. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele, is there a second? Second, Councilmember Soriento. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, 6-0, we are adjourned, and we will go into the special meeting in 15 minutes. How are you? And you know what? It's our last meeting, so we needed people here. Thank you. Awesome. Oh, yeah, that's our Troy High girls. Yeah, softball. Yeah. Oh, you know. And just for now. Auntie, thank you. Very thorough. Thank you. You'll hang out in case there's a last minute question. Thanks. Yeah, thank you. It was nice seeing you. Don't forget your candy.
That's not mine.
Yeah, it is.
Just
They
this.
moved it over.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is mine.
Yeah.
These, we'll make sure Jim gets them. So, hey, we have a little bit of time. Do you want to talk about your proposal?
Yeah, if you guys want to take a look at the, we had talked about having some kind of guidance for as it goes through the foreclosed properties.
Yeah.
And that subcommittee, you know, ranks things so that there's some kind of documentation so that when we do have closely competing applications, we have members of the public that come back and with questions. So this is a draft and I'm happy to tweak it as you have more specific things, but just to sort of run through,
Okay.
if there's open code violations for any of the applications and each property, so like 123 Main Street would get one of these, and then as many applicants as you have, fill in that grid. Open code violations eliminates them. They can't get a property. Past due taxes.
What if they have an installment agreement?
Don't know. Good question.
It's a good question. That's why it's a draft.
Yeah. I'll ask- You know what? I'll
That's a
ask
good
Sharon.
question.
So now is this, if this like gets finalized, is this gonna be presented to the people that bid? Like to, like, for example, if I'm an applicant and I have code
Mhm.
violations, is this gonna be present? Okay, well, it says disqualified, I'm not even gonna come out. Is it gonna let them know before?
Yeah,
the
I mean,
process?
there's certain criteria.
You know what I mean?
I'd like us to potentially, if it's okay, what I'd like, and Steve, really good point. What I'd like to do, once we like this,
Yeah,
like actually pass a resolution, you know, stating that this will be a guideline,
okay.
you
yeah.
know, for the property
Right.
review committee, something like that.
Okay.
And even though we don't have to, and it's more administrative, I think it's a good idea for us to put our seal on it, but I think it needs some work. And I also would like Sharon to take a look at it, Code to take a look at it, Steve Strikeman. They might have other ideas. Yeah. Yeah. What if they're in the middle? Like, that's a great idea with contesting and like you said, or installments and you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, which is why I put the like other past due bills and I can add another category of sort of.
I like the idea.
Yeah,
I do.
No, I like, my understanding is that people submit an application and then you don't hear back until it's on the agenda.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a way right now in the process to like be like, oh, we'll use that, you submit an application, like it's not until after that's something that we find out. Or
Right,
that committee would find out.
right.
Well-
I think it's really realistic right now to.
That's a good question. So when because you have done these.
Online application. Yeah.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City Council. Welcome to our chamber, our city floor. I'd first like to kick it off, call the meeting to order. This is a special meeting, and I'll ask Councilmember Steele to lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Maria, can you do a roll call?
Councilmember Gully is absent. Councilmember Figueroa. Councilmember Steele.
Present.
Councilmember Men. Councilmember Conley Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Council President Mantello.
I am here.
6 are present.
All right, the presentation of the agenda. We had a finance meeting earlier this evening. I want to thank Andy for spending a little time up here with us. And public forum, would anyone in the audience like to address the council on any item on the agenda? Okay, we'll close the public forum. And now we have some really cool visitors with us. So the Troy High softball team, the ladies softball team, accomplished incredible feats throughout their tournament and throughout the season. And unfortunately, after the season, they went into a travel league, and many of the folks and many of the ladies were unable to join us. So here we are at our last meeting. They're home for the holidays, and I believe we almost have the full team with us. So I'd ask the council to join us and yeah. All right. All right. So this is something that the city council, we really love, recognizing folks in the community who go out of their way to either do volunteer work, or such as this, the girls, the ladies softball team from Troy High. And I am going to ask the players and the coaches and also Chuck to come on up, and let's give a big warm welcome to the Troy High School ladies softball team. Oh, you're here. Oh, good. All right. Thanks for coming home. Thank you. I'm so glad you guys were able to make it. It's so cool. I like your jackets. I played softball. We never got a jacket. Hey, Sean. How are you? Thank you so much. How are you? So you're Billy's wife?
Yeah.
Yes. Your name?
Michelle.
Michelle. All right. Chuck, come on up. You've been such a big part of coordinating this. Come on. You want Chuck up here now? Olivia's like, no. Listen, I was the same way with my dad. I'd be like, no way. Once again, let's welcome the ladies softball Troy High. This is amazing. We want to welcome you to the council chamber. And I must tell you, council members here, sit. Come on up. You can't see. There we go.
Sure.
I know. So I always, I have to talk about my softball time. I played shortstop for many years. I still play co-ed, but now I substitute. You'll see later in life. But my dream was always to be the first woman Major League Baseball player. So, I thought growing up, I grew up with 3 brothers. I was playing baseball. They wouldn't let me play baseball at that time. So I started playing softball. And lo and behold, I was Lansingburg, and I made all area, and I, truly thought I was on the path for Major League Baseball, but my career took a detour. So here I am as council president. But I do want to congratulate all of you on an incredible season. I followed you all throughout the season. I know many of us did. Your accomplishments, incredible. So let's introduce ourselves.
Katie Pryor, Casey Paul, Olivia DeCitis,
No relation to Chuck.
no, Ava Salvaggio, Olivia Ashland, Gianna Behringer, Madison Schmidt, Emma Thompson, Kiara Lorenzo.
Coach Geisel.
All right. Coach French. All right. And now I know, I saw Billy in the crowd and I'm like, why is Billy French here? And put two and two together. Did you play softball? Grown up? Whereabouts?
I played at then I played travel, and then I played high school.
Okay.
Did get several college scholarships.
So we might have played against each other at some point. Yeah. Even co-ed. Did you ever play co-ed league? All right. Okay. So me too. Yeah, me too. So Coach, take it away. Tell us the season, a truly incredible season. And then obviously the post season, how far you made it. I mean, honestly, what you ladies accomplished is truly incredible.
Yeah, I mean, just to have all these people back, I think shows the unity we had through 2022 and further seasons and previous seasons. Big support from the community, the Troy community, the schools, obviously the parents, the family. And, you know, we recorded, as kept saying, we just want to keep practicing because that was the vibe, the good vibe we had all year. And it's a great way to end 2022, having a lot of us here. It's nice that college kids are able to come home, and you know, it's great for us.
So awesome. Now, who here is in college? Okay, where do you go? What are you taking?
I go to SUNY Oneonta. I play softball there, and I'm an exercise science major.
Awesome.
I go to SUNY Albany, and I'm studying communication.
Okay, what year are you in?
I'm not in college.
No, I know. What year? are
Oh,
you
I'm a
in?
freshman.
Okay, and do you hope to go to college?
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
I want to play softball.
I love it. First woman, major league, it's still out there.
I'm a sophomore, and I want to go to med school.
Awesome.
I'm a sophomore, and I also want to go to med school.
You're a freshman, right?
Yeah.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be council president.
What year?
I'm a freshman.
Awesome. Yeah, high school or college? Okay. What do you think?
Softball in college.
Nice. Do you have your scope out what colleges yet? All right, that's okay. What's your name again? Olivia.
Yes.
You're a senior.
I'm a
right?
senior. I'm going to UMass Lowell to play softball and engineering major.
I saw the Olivia sign. Hats off to Olivia. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I go to Nazareth in Rochester, and I'm an education major.
That's a great school. Nice.
I'm a junior at Troy High, and I want to go to vet school.
Nice. All right. Well, let's first congratulate this team, and then you'll hear how far they got into the playoffs. Let's give it up for the ladies Troy High softball team. So on behalf of the City Council, and to introduce, we have Councilmember Figueroa. He's District 2, North Central area, North Lansingburg. Sue Steele, Council District 3, Sickaway, goes all the way over to Oakwood Ave for a park area, Beeman Park. And then we have Emily Min. She's primarily downtown and goes towards South Troy a little. We have Irene Soriento, who's over, picks up the east side, Stowe Ave. And then we have Tiani Wilson, who is down by DePazios and Crazy District 5. That's Blinky side, but we're changing it. So, and the mic went out. So, I know, lucky you. So, whereas, I'll speak up. The Troy High School varsity softball team have many accomplishments this season. And whereas the team had a 22-3 overall record, which is incredible for anyone that's ever played sports. And whereas the team was Section 2 Class A champions, and whereas this tremendous team made it as far as the New York State PHSAA Class A Final Four. And whereas Coach Sean was named Suburban Council Coach of the Year. Woo-hoo! You also coach bowling, I believe, or another sport. I'm sorry. But you have another sport, don't you?
I did modified volleyball this fall.
Okay, I knew you had something else, so no bowling, but I do know Olivia also is an awesome bowler. So I hear. And whereas the Troy State Council is not only proud of the Flying Horses achievements on the field, but the young leaders they are off the field, as Coach Sean mentioned. The Troy State Council congratulates the players, the coaches, and we like to take a moment to thank the moms, the dads, the families, the extended families, because guess what? You wouldn't be able to do what you do without the support of your family. So hats off to all the families out there. We're so proud. We want to celebrate your great achievements. And I did want to mention that Olivia actually, as I was following the Troy High softball team, Olivia surpassed amazing goals. She was named Suburban Council Pitcher of the Year with 309 strikeouts, 27 of them in one game. I mean, think about that, folks. You have 27 outs, 7 innings. Olivia was responsible for 27 outs in one game, 27 strikeouts. Unreal, which is a Section 2 record. Truly amazing. But one of the things I learned, playing sports, I, played field hockey, softball, basketball, you name it. But one of the things that I think all of you will carry on, the teamwork, the leadership that you are right now learning day in, day out. And someday down the road, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, we had camaraderie. We, participated, volunteered in our community. That carries a long way in life. And you'll see on the city council, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be a team player. You're not going to do it alone. Your coach will tell you that, your parents will tell you that, but, just take it away. It's something that certainly you'll carry on for years and years to come. I won't tell you when I played softball, but years later, decades later, it certainly is a part of my life. It's a part that you will never, ever forget. And those bus rides, are they amazing? Like, 30 years later, you're going to say, oh my gosh, like our song, we had Journey. We played the boom box. We didn't have Bluetooth. So we had a boom box at the back of the bus playing Journey. But saying that, we just want on behalf of the city council to congratulate all of you. And, before we leave, Sean, did you want to leave with a last minute note? Come on.
Got to do
You
it now,
have to.
right?
Come on.
No, honestly, a lot of people say, hey, why'd we wait so late? And it really is all about the girls that went away to school and the girls still here. And, going in 2023, it's great to have the support of everybody. There's a lot of youth in the program as well. And so we want to keep just creating these opportunities and these memories because what you've alluded to, it really is all about the memories. The wins are obviously great and they create a lot of memories, but the camaraderie among us, doing things off the field, in the tougher parts of the season, having each other's backs and really pushing through everything. So really thank you to you guys. Thank you to the Troy schools, the parents, the family, and Coach French and the coaching staff throughout, and obviously the team. Not much more can be said. It was a phenomenal year for us. We love to play till June and, we'll remember this forever. So thank you.
And next year, you're going to take the whole thing. What do you think of that? Anything you want to say? You want to thank your parents?
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
See
Can I
that?
also?
Yeah.
I just want to thank Coach Geisel and Coach French and TA and Coach Frendridge who isn't here, but really I couldn't have done it without you and best coaches I've ever had in my life.
That's amazing. Woo! Anything you want to add?
I want to thank my parents and my coaches for everything they taught me throughout the years.
That's awesome.
Same thing. Same.
Same.
I love it. All right, Olivia, come on. See that? Come on, seriously, an incredible season. You think you can do it again next year?
Yes, I'm going to do better than I did last year, and I'm going to do it as a team and all together. We work together, and we're a better team because of it. And I'm so excited to get it started now.
I love this girl. You remind me of me. I won't come over with the mic. Any last words? Awesome.
Yeah, same thing. Thank you to my parents and the coaches, and I always see the girls for making it one of the best seasons for sure.
This is awesome. Really heartwarming. And I must say, it's the holiday season. This is what it's all about, folks. These are future leaders, future council presidents, veterinarians, doctors, you name it. The city council is always here to support you. So thank you for everything you do. Congratulations. Let's give it up for the Troy High School ladies softball. Woo-hoo! And thank you for joining us. We're going to take a quick picture, okay? And Coach, I'm going to give these to you. You can hand them
No
out
question, does
after.
anyone know who Jerry is up here?
All right. Come on, raise your hand if you know Jerry. All right, all right. I knew Emily. All right, let's all like pump in. We'll take a good picture.
That's really good color.
I need it. I'll keep behind you. All right. The other one in the back. All right, everybody say.
Don't stop believing.
Flying
Flying horses.
horses. On the count of three.
1, 2, 3.
Flying horses. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
I heard 05 was the best class.
Great. Congratulations. All right. You need to sit here, right? Congrats. Okay. Way to go. Congrats. Should I embarrass myself and say what class I was? I didn't embarrass myself.
My ears are so sensitive.
I am probably in the grandparents.
I'd like to make a motion to have Don't Stop Believing be the official theme song of the.
I can sing it. Don't stop believing. Oh. Oh my gosh, I think it was someone. You're absolutely right, Sue. I never even thought of that.
We are already violating law.
Now we can sing, we can sing. The lawyer, attorney here.
Look that we are monetized.
Thank you again, ladies. Thank you to the parents and the family. Woo. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. Go get them next year. Final four. Is that awesome? Relax. Is that incredible? 27 strikeouts, man? That is sick. All right.
I think they know that song.
Oh, yeah. I love that song. You know who else, real quick, though? We, who sang Slowly Struggling? Stroke.
Yeah.
Stroke. We played that on the bus, too.
One of those that's,
It was like a one-hit wonder.
That's a rolling song.
Billy Squire, yes, thank you. We got some people out there. Slowly, strictly, stroke. Okay, ordinance 85.
Ordinance 85. Ordinance amending the general fund and capital project fund budgets. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Men. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 noes. Ordinance 85 passes.
And for the thousands of folks watching, all these items were discussed in detail at the finance earlier. Ordinance 86.
Ordinance 86, ordinance amending the 2022 general fund, garbage fund, water fund, and sewer fund budgets. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Soriento. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Figueroa. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 86 passes.
Ordinance 87.
Ordinance 87, ordinance amending the general fund and debt service fund budgets. Council President Mantella, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Min. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 87 passes.
Ordinance 88.
Ordinance 88, ordinance authorizing the city comptroller to transfer monies from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the capital projects fund for the 2023 capital plan. Council President Mantella, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Soriento. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 88 passes.
Ordinance 89.
Ordinance 89, ordinance authorizing the city comptroller to transfer monies from the general fund unassigned fund balance to the general fund assigned unappropriated fund balance for a specific purpose. Council President Mantella, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Min. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 89 passes.
Ordinance 90.
Ordinance 90, ordinance amending the fund balances policy of the city of Troy's general fund. Council President Mantella, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Councilmember Steele. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Conley Wilson. Andy, on this one, I did want to ask real quick, though. It's a quick one. Did we have this policy prior to the MAC?
No,
Okay.
it was originally passed by resolution, I think in September of 1996.
Mhm.
And we put it into a policy document in 2020.
Mm, okay. Did you want to add something? I saw your face light up.
Somebody asked balances of them right now.
Yes.
Insurance reserve, $330,600. Workers' compensation, $65,000. These are rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Capital reserve, 3.7 million.
Oh,
Snow and ice reserve, $602,000.
that's a lot. That is a lot for snow and ice.
It's the equivalent of four. It's the equivalent of about the cost of 4 major snowstorms.
Wow.
Like major snowstorms where we call in third-party
Right.
removal, it's about the cost of 3 or 4 storms.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, it would be great if we could rework these, like Councilmember Steele mentioned.
Then unemployment
Mm.
is $306,000.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot for snow and ice. Okay. Thank you, Andy. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
6 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 90 passes.
And the last item for 2022, take it away.
Resolution 125, resolution setting the date for the January 2023 regular monthly meeting of the Troy City Council. Council President Mantella.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Soriento, jumping the gun. Is there a second? Second, Councilmember Figueroa. Discussion. I think we should really talk about this. All in favor? Opposed? All right,
6 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 125 passes.
okay. We will now, I was going to open up. We will now open it up for the final public forum. Anything you'd like to talk about happening on your block, you name it, City of Troy related, please feel free to come on up.
I'll ask a question.
Come on up. Just name, address, please. Hi, Ken.
398 Second Street. Just wondering where everything is on the foreclosure homes and all that.
Glad you asked.
Just where we are.
Yep, no
Not holding your
problem.
feet to the fire.
Yep, no problem. So the property review committee met on the new foreclosure list and then the 6 properties that were tabled from a couple months ago or a few months ago. They met a couple days ago. We'll have a finance in January, the 3rd Thursday in January. will act on what the property review committee proposed. They met, will act, will accordingly, we'll do our due diligence from now until then to look at their recommendations, if we agree, et cetera. And then February, we're expected to pass them. Okay,
I'm still coming in.
okay. We like, as you can tell, we like visitors. Councilmember Conley Wilson.
I'd like to submit the Complete the Streets Advisory Board Annual Report for 2022 to this council meeting's minutes.
Yes.
And it just highlights kind of the big takeaways here are we've replaced we have about 6.3 miles of bike facilities now in the city. We replaced about almost 11 miles of new sidewalks this year and installed 276 new ADA compliant curbs ramps. But there's also been about 1,400 crashes in the city. So they have recommendations to, increase funding for light traffic maintenance. I know we appropriated some money this year. They have a suggestion for a grant writer position and establish seed funding for at least 2 miles of annual sidewalk. And they have a lot of reporting and just visuals on the crash history over the years. It's no surprise that it's mostly Huzik. But this is really great information. Hopefully our engineering department can take a look at it in our streets. And we can kind of make Troy a much safer city to drive in, bike in, all of that. So very great work here.
Yeah, I was surprised at the detail, and I didn't know that they were continuing to meet.
Yeah.
So I'd like them to actually, present maybe next year at some point, and I plan to pop in one of their meetings, but they're doing phenomenal work. And thank you, Councilmember Conley Wilson. And it'll be online for folks out there to take a look also. So it'll be publicly accessible.
And this is one of the committees that, we have constituents basically on this committee providing this information. And
Yeah.
compiling this reporting. So it's much appreciated, much very hard work for sure.
Thank you to the committee and the volunteers. Thank you. Any other, okay, on all of our behalf, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Councilmember Steele, want to echo?
Echo?
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, be safe out there, Happy New Year, and let's hope that 2023 continues the good work that the council has done this past year. Thank you all. Good night. Oh, motion to adjourn. Councilmember Steele motions. Is there a second? All of us. Councilmember Conley Wilson. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?